You faithful viewers know that I love my salvias, and I've learned a lot over the years, and I just wanted to pass along some tips that have worked really well for me with the Salvia greggii. Salvia greggii are just absolutely splendid when they're in full bloom, but when they finish, they're not pretty. And here's some tips to get them right back in shape and looking good again. On mature plants that are well established, this size or bigger, I'd recommend using hedge trimmers. It just makes the job so much faster because pruning by hand would take hours and hours when you have several salvia plants. So for goodness sakes, get out the power tools. Give your time in the garden for something more fun. And if you're worried about this being too aggressive on the plants, here's 2 salvias that I've done this method on before, and they responded nicely by using those power tools. This late spring or early summer that I do this, and I'm only taking off about 6 to 12 inches, no more. These salvias in no time will be fleshing out with full color again, just watch. And when I'm trimming these salvias, I make sure that I remove lower branches, just the lower ones. Not a lot of them, but this helps the airflow. And I really think this helps plants a lot when they have good airflow. They're just healthier. So I take any of those lower branches off that are hugging the ground, and I just try to shape them really nice so they look nice until they flush out and bloom again. For younger salvias that aren't as established and big, I would just use hand pruners and do the same method, just removing any of the spent blooms. I also try and clean up any debris that's underneath the plants, any of the dried blooms that have fallen, because they do tend to pile up, and just want to clear that soil and let that soil breathe. Now that last salvia that I haven't touched yet, I'm going to wait a couple weeks to do that because it still has really a lot of blooms on it. So I'm not going to cut that one back yet. I'm going to wait. And here they are all finished up, and hang in there because I have a few more tips. Don't just stop there. There's a few more things you need to do, because this is the perfect time to collect seeds. Salvia greggii are really easy to propagate. You can grow them by seed that you collect or by stem propagation. I'll show you that later. And there I was before I got the hedge trimmers out. Here are the seed pods that I collected, and here's what the seeds look like. They're right in those husks. You just shake them out, and there they are. Those little black dots, those are the seeds. Now just take those seeds and plant them in the soil, and you can use any kind of container. Just use good soil, and again, keep them moist, and they'll grow. You can take cuttings from salvias and start new plants by stripping the lower leaves of sections, just like this. So cut those lower leaves off, just like I'm doing here, leaving just a couple leaves at the top. Place those stem cuttings in the soil and keep the soil damp. They will root. Right after I do the pruning of the plants, I get in there and I make sure that I fertilize them very lightly with some good organic fertilizer. This really helps. I mix that in the soil really good and just get that fertilizer spread in there. Not a lot. You don't need a lot for salvias, but I do think they like it. And so I do use fertilizer on my salvias after pruning. I recently started using True Organics fertilizer, and I'm really liking it. I'm not sponsored by them, but so far I'm really liking that fertilizer. It's TRUE, True. And then of course I just water them in really well. I love salvias, and they're such a joy to have in the garden. I hope these tips help you with your salvias and give you inspiration for your garden.